야 tani nga tsu terang yang tang nipa larse pemzo kanga la yong ne tani namba tsota nyamda tani kabda shiya ga tani korkup shungwa la nga pe gabo shung sung tani shirtang nanang tang tangbo tani nupshuk la yong tani talo tang nipa re ti nang la shirtang ga tani nga so boba mambo ta tuk sung tani nga so bobe mangchok tani bobe loma tani bobe tani lama tiso korwa tani mambo zi tuk sung tani mambo tani kabda tani mambo shiya korku shung sung tani nga pe gabo shung sung.
So this is my second time now to be able to visit the Latsi Library, and I'm very happy to have this second chance to come and be in conversation with you all again. So this is my second trip to the West, and on this trip I've had the opportunity to meet with and chat with many Tibetans, ordinary Tibetans, students, lamas, etc.
Di nala nga zo kabda mambo dini shiya korkup dini yambo raksung. Di na dini nga rang la samlo tang bayi na nga zo shilo la yung kanga dini boba tsogo dini netang. Shidang nga ma la tana tarta nga zo mambo go re, shidang nga zo chawi tongne go re, dini di mayimbi yang dini gilam mambo yo re, dini nga zo nang la yu bi, dini bobi nitsar, dini nga zo shilo la yung kanga zo mambo go re, dini shilo la yung kanga nitsar nga zo yung mambo go re. Rede ina da nga zo shila yung ni ngus dini yang nga zo mi ngot ni kaldashi yang rawo dini yang rawo ma re. Dini yindi dini ka korka mambo zo dini shong song, dini kabda yang mambo shi jira song, dini kabda kapsi dini nga rang chapsi ka kola nga rang dini kabda shitam ka ma re, shi ka me, dini maatok ba jamba nga zo rinni ka koron rata, tsowa ka koron rata, dini ju chu koron rata, taso la kabda mambo shi ya korka warak song, dini nga rang pe dini da lo tsumbon rawo dini shong song.
So in terms of the situation of Tibetans living outside Tibet now, and the situation of Tibetans living inside Tibet, nowadays we know more of both of these situations than we previously did. And the reason for this is that we now have the internet and other ways of finding out about the situation in both places. So even though we now do have these ways to find out more about the situation of Tibetans both inside and outside Tibet, it's quite a different thing to actually meet people and be able to talk with them face to face. So on this trip I've had many opportunities to do this, to have many conversations with Tibetans. I've not of course been able to talk about politics or discuss politics, but anything besides this, such as everyday life, culture, religion, etc., these are all topics that we've been able to talk about with each other, and I've felt very happy and satisfied with these conversations.
Tani kyabarda terang aso pemzo kanga nangla tani yongni kabda shiya tani korkup shungwa la yang ngarang lakbarda gawa yo nanang rawo ina nga so pemzo kanga di nangla yongni tani karzi ka korla tani kabda yin tani terang rawo ina tani nga so tsumzo ka korla tani kabda rindu kangal taryang pemzo kanga tani zi yo pala ngarang pe jisi yarang shiga yo nga so tani pobi shusoko nangla ngay mangso la tani kabda shidi tani namgin shedde yo nga so tani loso te chamsang ka loso ta tani lobja ka loso ta tani shitso ka loso ze te nzambala la loso simde pe karchi shutsa yo re di nani tani pemzu kangda ina tani shitso ka loso na la tani yo re te nga so shitso ka loso te pe karchi mbore ma to ba nga so chamsang ka loso ta tani shitso ka loso te ni to la shigyam matmna tani nga so lobja chi bo nani tani ta shitang 당럽 그르니 망보 장탑고 요래 장고리 카페 가르침보리 레데이나 가서 수수랑 그 드니 보비 르니도 장고나 가서 저 겸상 같더니 로소다 수속을 로소니까 가서 마시나 델레장 가서 따따 가서 보바 랑 같더니 로자지야 데리스 요 말에 덴지 인가랑 카페 가르침본 통고요 덴지 인디 가서 보바 같더니 년콜라 더니 다 종치린디 나라 용케 나제 강에 나가서 뱀조 강들란 딘디 뱀조 강서 요바데 레라보즈 마레 딘디나 텔라 잡큐르 때 약보시고 온도 딘 잡큐르 지나 가서 강디즈라 고알랭고 오레지나 뱀조 강제야데 딘이 과랑가 rentang de gang rezina tene gaso mi jamba chola partini pecha tene taya tene ge tene khundum shia tene de kharang ga tene rentang ri tene indi ta gaso de pemzo khang yo na tene tangking ge mi mayo na tene yang pemzo khang yo na de rentang me ban ra tene chang ro re tene indi gaso de la japchur shi ya de pemzo khang la yong ne tene ngus pecha tene lomnir shia yin na ri yana cha thok la tene pemzo khang ga tene chi she go pecha lomnir shia tene yo na 디나라 야포데니 디 참마 지야 땡에 상로다가 페 가침보들이 삼고요.
So I'm particularly happy to be able to come to this library. Last year when I came, I spoke about vegetarianism in Tibet, and this year I'm going to be talking about largely my dictionary work. In any case, being able to come here and be in this library is something that I'm very happy about. I really rejoice in the existence of this library. Wherever I've traveled recently in the West and have spoken with Tibetans, I've emphasized the importance of 3 types of education in respect of preserving and advancing Tibetan culture, primarily family education, school education, and social or society level education. And a library like this is really corresponds with a society level of education. So it's these 2 areas, social education or family education, that we really need to work hard on in respect of preserving and advancing Tibetan culture. Of course, in schools we learn a lot of modern subjects and modern contemporary knowledge, and of course this is important. But for Tibetan society, our society level or collective education and family education are really important, because we don't at this stage have a school that is specifically dedicated to Tibetan culture. But that a library like this exists is not something that happens easily at all, and so it's important that it be supported properly. That which we call a library is the value of such a place is providing a space for people to come and be able to read books and resources, and without people looking after it properly, it's very difficult for it to survive. So whether it be in terms of a place to read real books or virtual books or whatever the case may be, a library like this is an important place and should be supported.
머르치글라 상로 당바이나 르니티 베 가침보 린드 땡아주 상마 고요리 따르따데니 가서 상마 가서 베나 보그낭라이나 당아마 이나 가서 데니 jam조고 망초고 나라 데니 가서 르니티라 데니 고 땅잠모 데니 렌 탐근다 마탐근다 데 망부요레 데 인디 르니 송쇼레 냠소레 긴전린도 저 콜라 데니 고와 약부 용케요요레 망치와서 그 고와요 말에 인나 다르다다이나 베나가서 보건당라이나 오당가 조르니티 베가침보린도 르니티 인다만다 송큐시고온도 삼반라오티 보거데니 자와다데니 시움바가 데카칸 나라데 레용가마니 요리다 데 망초고 나라이나 당가서 셔당금 쪽바다 셔당가 롱와다 데순나라티 코토데야 산니 뱅가마다 만자위티니 게르와 야보타니 가서 보건당라양 조요리.
So for a people or an ethnicity, culture is extremely important. This is something that we all know. In the past, however, this awareness among farmers and nomads in Tibet, that is the awareness or understanding of the need for preserving and maintaining and advancing Tibetan culture maybe wasn't so strong, of course, among intellectuals and those with a significant degree of education, as well as among the monastic community. There was a stronger awareness. However, these days in society, this awareness is also starting to really pervade ordinary Tibetans as well. So this understanding of the importance of Tibetan culture is also reaching farming communities and nomadic communities as well.
Tene gazo rinidi garchimbo indi ti zawade katang ikela tene thugdeyo re pena gazo katang igede kangda wozre na gazo jamso nala tene roya zhang tenda posre tani te mayimbi tini rinni te so tini zhagzang tola yonkan ka tani moda tani ngubo chongzi tsun rapo sri tani indi pe na ga zo zhagzang te tani jamso go nangla tani nabni meba chakso na tani ti tola yonkan ka mari ti tola yonkan ka tani ngubo re changma jamso kablan drone tani tata nga zo jamso shotang lan drone so tani lo jibja ko lo ngabja ko lo smja ko la tani jamso go nangla nabni tani ngubo mambo tim sohtang la hone de yong kenzo tata yar kerong ndo wa denja po jekere te nga so tini kadang yige tini ka magashi sati tani nga so rigne de detail tsawane yo mare te tsama hago re
In terms of our culture, the language, our oral language, spoken language, and written language is extremely important. Again, something that everyone is no doubt aware of. It's, in fact, language is like a boat on the ocean. And culture and people are like the objects, the cargo, or the passengers on the boat. And if the boat is to sink, then everything that it is carrying also sinks with it into the ocean. So we have cases of great ships in the past, 300 or 400 years ago, that sunk in the ocean, and all of the different things they were carrying went down with them. And so we now have people going down and retrieving these things. So this is just what it is like with a language. If it dies or if it sinks, then so too does the culture that is suspended on it.
tani tirib nyeshba dinala tan romatak ba tirib dinala tani zambalang ka kar tongchak chigdang chig makashin de tani meba chasong ngama rawo ina nga chme mamboz ka o ka tang yige ta meba chak ji mare samne tenji samde gare makon khenso go tenji samde gare jete ina de meba chak jindu kal ina korang la kiandu gayandu chewandu nga zo kirga nanchi naji yangdu teni nga zo karigla teni kirga nanchi jipo tendu nga zo mula kirga nanchi jipo yo bata chikpari teni yige lang te tang rapondu teni yige lang kirga nanchi jipo ndu teni tenri yenna teni nga zo kai teni gege yore zina gege yo mare nga zo kai la teni lorgi hali baga rang bumundu yenna yang teni nga zo kai naga yore teni tan china hako mare te na ti thola pe nga zo zabzab shik gosare.
In the 20th century, more than 1,000 languages in the world became extinct, and this was something at the time that people didn't think was possible, that languages could vanish just like this. But they did vanish, and they're continuing to vanish. Languages, just like humans, they come into existence. They are born. They age, they become sick, and they die too. And this, in terms of the Tibetan language, we are clearly not in a period of being born. It's a language with significant history. However, we are in a period where the language, we could say, is ailing. Whether it will die or not, that's another question.
tani nga so bola ka khis yo ta navi phanlan chze gre tani navi kapse tani te tela pamchu jab gore pamchu chi ne tani te na te yak po taksona tani khoran takson re patok ba te matokna ti jila kare re jena te navi jilan chware te matok ba jamba yo mari tani yindi nga chu ka tarong chhu ndu jena mandu po ganjeng ka kan chhu mandu yina na ndu o te yindi nga chu samala ngan yo re ngan yo ti samala semkri she go ndu.
So there's a saying in Tibetans that says that whilst when something needs to be healed when it is sick, after the it's too late to heal something after a being has died, and this is the same with a language too. While we are in this stage of where our language is suffering or our language is ailing, it's important that we do something now while we still have time.
Pola ko tini pechata tini yikcha ga wang de shina pena ga zo da pola tini mi chang mangbo mari zambalang ga thoni mrig chola darna hajang nyongshu de yang mari hajang mangshu de kala yinda da sherdang nyongshu jabji ina da ngarang chole yang nyongwi mrig tini yang mangbo yo re chi nyongshu du mari da ina nyongyong go jabde re tini indi tini matang nyongyong tini zita darna tini ga zo tini pecha tanga chu dini bog dini pecha ta dang dini yigi de dang ngasu matang ni ka darna tin zambalang na la dini pecha mangshu ge dini murg de reason de dini zeg yore pecha ngasu ta ya mangbondu
Even though we Tibetans are we aren't a huge population, we're not the smallest population or the smallest ethnicity on earth, and yet we are still a relatively small ethnicity. There are not many of us. Nevertheless, relative to the size of our population, it is said that we have the highest rate of books or the highest number of books relative to the size of our population. So as a people, we have many books and texts.
베나 맞죠 모동 반친 것들이 송범디 라세 뱀족한라 유지리 모동 반친들이 무스치 것들이 다 그런 것들이 무지치가 나라더니 딥 급주 고진도 다다 빠tun시야 될라더니 딥 침보데 다른 때때 총총 말에 딥 침보데더니 다 급주 고지 던진도 때인데더니 잠발랑가 더니 미스치 것들이 다좀 것들이 좀 망슈 잡라 조요리 던지지 되니 대 잠바 촐라 되니 라마 잠바 촐라 되니 던지 망보 요사데 곰보리다 예나 되니 보드 팁스음시 담바 템니시 담바 던지 용근다 빼 할레바 망보리 되니 내가 촐라 빼차타야 데빼 망보리 리데 예나 당가서 다 마타브나 되니 빼차딘디 망보요나 되니요 저전탕메 반다오 되니 창정도 되니 내가서 뱀조 강간나라 용니 되니 빼로 자야다 되니 남진 가서 되니 빼차타야 되 문이 빼 가침보리 잠발론디 토라 되니 데 머륵 소소라 잡른도 데 머륵 가시가시도 빼 할리바 빼차탄 그 머륵 된진도 가시가시도 양 되니 빼차 할리바 머탄 된진도 되니 야 다 되니 인나 나랑초 인나 되니 빼차 할리바 탄 된지 쇠고지나 데즈 가보레 레데다 할리바 되니 빼차 머탄 대신양 말에 빼차다 군도 런치 초이나 빼차다 군도 디나니장 나랑초 되니 보금은 되니 빼차텔라 따나 되니 디르브니시 자치 바가나라 톤나양 되니 가수 빼차가 망둔 디소포 다른 질리당 되니 파티습 가르완다오 되니 자와레 레코멘드 다른 가수 디나라 소아가 토다 되니 레가가 토다 되니 미컨쇼가 토다 되니 뜻소가 토라 당럽 그더니 시송디나라 고야다 런탕자 망본도 되나 되니 빼차다야디 빼가심보레.
So an example of one prolific writer in Tibetan history would be Wodong Panchen, whose collection is probably housed in this library. Over the course of his life, he wrote 94 major books, and this isn't counting the smaller things that he composed. And whilst he's an example of an exceptionally prolific writer, and it's rare to find lama or authors as prolific as him, nevertheless there are many lamas in Tibetan history who composed 30 or 20 books or texts over the course of their lives. So there are many books for us to read. However, if we are not able to read them, then they don't have much value. So it's important to be able to come to a space like this library, and to be able to read the books. There are quite significant differences between different peoples in the world. Some peoples in the world really adore books and the culture of books, whereas others don't so much. As for us Tibetans, maybe to say that we are really the most book captivated, maybe we're not the most. On the other hand, we're also not the least. Actually, being somewhere in between would be quite okay particularly for young Tibetans today. Indeed, among our legacy of books, it is certainly not the case that none of them are relevant or have relevance to our culture in contemporary 21st century society. There is much among Tibetan writing that has vast relevance to all aspects of contemporary life.
근데 가서 다다 식당 가서 볼라든지 이게 배자 망본도 배자 망본 다다 양들이 망보진도 다다 망보더니 야 짜소다 든지 쉬어요 다다 빠춘신도 배자 대한 망보도 통용도 다 옛날에 대소 탐지 보가서 쪼긴 것들이 삼로다 쪼긴 거 추다 대소리 대마도 봐요 다릅 것들이 살와 대소 디나라요 말에 대인디 되니 다른 것에서 가서 되니 보거든이 망속은 소화당들이 내가 할리바 담보 용큰 연담당 가서라 요군큰 된지고 너쇼거든이 더르네 베나 거리 소쪽고 콜라에 나레 된다와서 그때 베남 초땡 그 콜라에 나레 다들 콜라 시샤사라 콜라 베나 총거를 바 콜라에 나레 대 망보즈도 근도 대 망보 연나 되니 대소 가서들이 보고 가이 그 돌았다 다르다이나 미어 말이 카펠레 페 콤보레 콤보 마토 바멘도 대인디니 대소 탐지보다 가서 팔라 겨리야 될라상로 땅고를 마토바다 가서 랑가 가이 때 팔 도르네 되니 가이 잠바즈 그 통네 때 호종시구나 때 때라 페 커보레 되니 때라 닌카 망본도 대인다들이 가서 랑가 가이 그 통네 호종시야 땅 따야 티 돌라 맞선 잡고 그래 대인디 티 돌라 가서다 망보 팔 겨고 근데 배나 가서 아마 로통착지 그 공라 되니 가서 디캅스 되니 이기르시고나 따르타가 되니 락찬라원들이 짐춘라원들이 락차야 보여 말에 되니 야거다 때론 로고나 되니 따따라원 좀르크 토니 되니 칼레 카보레 디캅스 되니 가서 다 보거디 미망보 야거라 되니 로고레 야르 자탐반도나 마르치 탐바용한다고 되니제 야미한테 제거레 야거양 디캅스 되니 추도라더니 야가양더니 야가라 망본로야리 야르잔조나 마르 지마서 바통고요 말에 코란소야 내가서 못 봐요 된다 버리 가서 라마서 남트르크나라타나 망보요리 되니 라마서 망보티 야가라 차바침보리 되니 티캅스 되니 초스텐단도소야 보요 말에 데 차르디니 망보즈 야가란도네 야가니 시어되니 라마 망보시요리 로자바 망보시요리 까블리 망보야요리 티토라 보거더니 girzi longshun mambo tanyore tenrishiore te tenri kable mambos latini teni rini pasum soba teni ta jagarni mar lenni teni tenrizre te lo tongchak da tenriz ka thola teni ngacho je bobi chapsi ka thola teni jinjarwan ramra mambo shongare teni pamjur ko thola jarwa mambo shong ena rini te teni de gimsanji teni lo tongchak da chila teni bobazina tarong yang teni ndoi khamsam chama shibashini dayowati rini te la teni
So at the moment there is a lot of work being done to print Tibetan texts and to print Tibetan texts from the past. Most of these tend to be traditional, related to religion, and so in the books that we have available to us today, there isn't a great deal of them that deal with contemporary or modern life and modern areas of knowledge. So particularly areas that have direct relevance to the lives of ordinary Tibetans, such as environmental protection, health and hygiene, business and economics, etc., and many other spheres. We have a lack of books in the Tibetan language on these topics. They're very rare. And so it's important that we really work to translate this kind of material into the Tibetan language. Some might say that we can do so in other languages, but there is great danger in abandoning our own language to study these forms of knowledge in another language. So it's important that it be translated into the Tibetan language, that when we study these things, we do so in our own language. 1,000 years ago, back when the technology that we had at our disposal was nowhere near advanced as it is today, communications and transport were far from developed, many Tibetans undertook very arduous travels to India. Often 100 people would depart and only 10 would return. And we know about their very arduous travels from the biographies of lamas. We know that it was very hot in India, that the hygiene conditions weren't good, and so a lot of people died en route. It was very difficult journeys that people undertook indeed. And so a great many lamas and translators died in the process of going to India. they also spent a great deal of material wealth on these travels, and what their primary purpose was and what they actually succeeded in doing was bringing back to Tibet a very splendid culture from India. And although over the time that has passed from then until now, the political fate of Tibet and the economic situation has gone through many periods of change. It's ultimately this Tibetan culture that has endured over a period of 1,000 years that has formed the backbone for the ongoing survival of Tibetan culture.
Tani dirab te mga sa bo golorji ge tolay na tani rigni shilok rigni nangjin shipi tani dirab ja halipa ge tani nga yo mamnyong wa tani ge dirab zre te tikap sa tani rigni mambo nangjin shini rigni phusum so ba tani resong tani ti jini tani parchi lo tong chak chik tani zga rangla shetang tani rigni mambo shiloni tani chi nangjin kala kansum she anda ota tani yori ta yena tikam rabo shongmadu tikam yo mari ti jini teni tata la taksong teni tirab nishi taksik pa teni ndi teni ngay samlo tana nga so yang rigni nangzhan shi pi teni tirkab ni pa teni zila teni ngunzhan she go re.
So this first period, when a huge amount of new knowledge and cultural information was imported to Tibet from foreign places, this period 1,000 years ago was unprecedented in Tibetan history. And even though after this period, of course, there was still some importing of knowledge from outside places, it wasn't to the extent that took place during this particular period. So from really that period up until now, we can consider ourselves now to be in a second major period of importing new knowledge and cultural information from outside now in the 20th and 21st century.
Tari kaptela nga so tini ta tangrab ka tini rigni mambo tini nangjin tini shego itirkab tini zre te na tini nangjin shia ga tini nipa nga so la yore nge samlo tana nga so tini nipa ndu kanti rizina tini pe na shalola yena nga so tini ta poke tini jonki tani lopta hali pachim bon zambalang lopta ang tangbo so na ni thongken tini yang mambo ndu tini gan santhombo me na sherdane nga so tini ta nashok ne yabo shinken tini inji tang da so yabo shinken boy yang pe yabo shinken tini jonki hali ba mambo ndu te yore tini teso tini nga so tini rigni nangjin shinken ka tini dekak tini so chigre tini nangla tini nga so pok nangla yena tani ji yang inji shinken de yo re te ta mangshu te tini ta yaig yabo shig yo re te pok nangla yaig yabo shig yo re tani boy yabo shi yaig ta boy ni ka yabo shinken gam te hal ba mambo re pok nangla te indi pe na yaig ko thola na ta ta na tini nafshu ko ni parchiwa te yaig ko thola tini girja yo re nafshu la tini tepchi yo na te lamsang girdore tini yana Taiwan ga girdore yana tini yana kamsa chimbo nala girdore gastar tini nashqor ni ma chi shu jai ga thola tini girja yare tini yendi ti nani tini ngachola goya ti so tini jai ga thone boy ga thola gerna yang gir chochong daw tini yare tini yendi nge samlo tana ngacho tarta tini korkup tini halepa ga tini korkup ni yapo tini zu tini yong yare tini na sangma ga tini de korkup te latta ni tini ngacho bo rang rigni phusum soba shea ga tini korkup dirkup ni pa tini zila tini te ngunzun she go ri tini zila ngunzun she ni tini ngacho lotong tak sik ta simja ga kola tini khongso go tini ngacho tini ta halepa ga rigni ga tini bangzu tini chimbo zu chen yo ri torjin ri tini tirib ndela tini ngacho sama ga bapa la tini ta tangrib ga rigni te phusum soba zu yara chen go ri te chen ya la chama la simshik yo go ri simshik yo na ngarang so la nishik nge samlo tanan ndu samgdo ta te population ki mampun du this changma tini rigni ga chan thombore tarong maung bala nga cho tini popa ga shi chok na la rigni tsam thumbu yongken de jenyunglan ro samaring samgdo chishina jeyimang ro re shelo yang teni te mimang bundu teni te so samaga te lojong da te so tola so pamjur ta kang thala na chakin kale kale jemang jevzang ro na nga choyang teni je murg jamban ro shini teni lota chimbo lota yakshun de so na la teni ro thapgre teni yina rigni ga teni ta chu maung la teni jemthun ro jire teni re so na teni nga so rigni mambo nangjin shina teni nangjin shi bi kor kum ni ba hale ba ya boz res nge teni sam ga yo teni semshi yo go ndu teni shi so na teni nga so ngama rigne ya yo jorgin rigne yo tarta rigne yo ni ka phasum so bare na teni nga so murg de la ina yang ji yin rambo z la teni ta ne thabya ta teni so so gang yin na so so rang rigne ka yi ka to ne teni shat pa drip pa teni re yong go re te pe ka chim bo re sam ga du.
So, in this second great period of importing knowledge from outside into Tibet, I really believe that we have the capacity to be able to do so. At present, there are many young Tibetans outside Tibet attending, some of them attending the best schools in Western countries, and even those who may not be at the best schools. There are an extraordinary number of people who are very familiar and conversant with Western culture, with English and the Tibetan language. And so this group of people will be very important in doing the job of translating this information, this new knowledge into Tibetan. So this is one important group, that is Tibetans, particularly young Tibetans who are currently outside of Tibet. And then on the inside Tibet, whilst there might not be so many people who are fluent and in English, there are a great many people who are fluent and conversant in Chinese and Tibetan. Many people who know both of these languages very well. These days, Western culture or Western knowledge, Western books are widely translated into Chinese, whether it be in mainland China or in Taiwan. Many Western books are almost as soon as they come out in English are very rapidly translated into Chinese. So I feel that this is presents itself as an excellent opportunity for us to translate much of this important information from Chinese into Tibetan. This is something that we can do, and it is something that by doing we will be able to enrich Tibetan culture in this second period of bringing new knowledge and new information to Tibetan culture. So if we see the first period of introducing new knowledge to Tibet as having happened over 1,000 years ago, we can look at this as a period that really built up our traditional cultural treasury in Tibet. And at the same time, we can look at the contemporary situation, this second great opportunity, as one where we bring a great deal of new modern information into Tibet. And this is something that we need to really work hard on. We need to have make a great deal of effort in terms of doing. I have no doubt that the number of educated Tibetans in the future will only continue to increase, and that the number of young Tibetans attending good schools and receiving very good educations will continue to grow in number. And so for this reason, we have a really excellent opportunity right now. It's a great chance, and it should be recognized as such, to be able to translate and to bring a great deal of new information into the Tibetan language. And by doing so, we'll be able to create a situation where we have traditional knowledge, we have modern knowledge, and having access to both of these knowledges and cultures in our own language will enable our culture to flourish for a long time. And this is very important.
Tani ngama yenda nga so jagarni dini yigir mambo sheore tarnye te sobe haliba ya boshini jingir dini to sheore jingir shini te kaps ngame ngar ka dini tojing dini da jonte so na la yenda dini kono so tspe sho ta ya ta te so changma dini chigba rapore pena ngaso tenga so kharsang yang shayam pena je chungkha pa tani amdo ni re tani pena jamkun sarkya panjita tani wesang ni re tenra ozu pena ngaso jamgun mapham ran so tani kocho kham shokla re rite ina mism ko tani kocho chomik la tana tenga so zawani tani de amdo yang sare de kham shok mo go tribarindu de wesang ga me go tribarindu samba zawani koya mar changma chikban rawo 직바 식장다고 되니 징기르들이 다니 배셨다야라 되니 할레바가 되니 징기르든지 데 나기 니급나 되니 그 빠야들이 징기르 약보수 시장도 되니 디 김선기 되니 가서 디 지라에 나타 가망가서 다다 쪼진 그 되니 배차도 로나 내가서 팁직 나니 가서 망측직 되니 약보수 시티 돈도 시차나 되니 팁 갸통 첨범 가리즈 로나 디낭라요 바오다티 데르르 삼반다고 소소고와 렌저나 데 지지르시니 저저요레 데 인디티니 팁식 나라 양 젤룩 만다와 치지 양 잠바식 나라 양 젤룩 만다와 치지 디 뇨다 mambo 딘디드 자와네 데 문두 아마 옛날 딘디시저요레 디 gemsen기 데니 가서 로종신근 졸라 이기르신근 로종신근 데 로츠신근 참마라데니 람카 할리바가데니 야보데니 시저요레 데니 데 로지가 돌라 딘디스레 데니 인디티니 다 따타 가서 데니 다 디카보니 파텔라테니 아르니 가서 난든시 디카텔라 양 데인자 보즈가 솔라테니 지기르치네 오타 타킨들이 페셔탄 거레 타킨들이지 거레 제아틴디 지기르즈 내가서 인담만다데니 요거레 마토바 데메나 데니 가서 베나 르니 난든시나 데 나랑가 삼선라 보시니 겨 켜랑가 삼선 데지 미치 소소고 데니 삼로만다와 땅 데니 타킨만다와 페셔탄 데니 지다 데니 지마 가서 롬닐 신근 솔라양 페 카블레 카보리 로트 신근 솔라 페 카블레 카보리 페 로 신근 솔라 카블레 카보리 데니 카보린 정도 데 인디 데 가서 데니 징기르거 데니 춤주츠 인담만다 고레 데 페나 가서 캉바잡거나 당보 가서 캉바가 지샤고 그래 캉바가 지샤 소박고 그래 소박 요나더니 소박 찍어 돌아 찍으자네 더니 깡렌도 그래 깡 요나더니 깡가 돌아 깡 판나더니 캉바 렌도 그래 데인디 톰을 가서 캉바 잡야라 당보 강라 삼로 땅고 당보 캉발라 삼로 땅지야 말에 당보 지샤라 삼로 땅고 그래
So to begin with, in the first period of Great Translation, when there was great effort to translate terminology from Indian scriptures in a standard way, in a uniform way. And this led to a situation where later in Tibetan history, scholars and masters such as Je Tsongkhapa and Sakyapandita and Jumipam, despite coming from despite existing in different periods of history and coming from different places, when we read their compositions, it's not possible for us to say, oh, this is written by someone from Amdo, or this is written by someone from Kham, or this was written by someone from Central Tibet. The reason being that they are using a standardized language and using terminology that is standardized, that is uniform. And this created a great situation for those who came after them, whether it be students or teachers or readers, upon being familiar with a term, familiarizing oneself with one word in one context, then one would be able then to go and understand this book in understand this word in when reading many other books, whether it be in 100 further books or 1,000 further books, knowing the words, because they were used in a standard sense and their meanings were set in a standard sense, gave great convenience and ease to readers and students and scholars. So it wasn't the case that they were all using different words and using words in an inconsistent way with inconsistent meanings. So that was the situation in the past. Now, in the situation where we are today, we are also really needing to approach the translation of new knowledge into Tibet with a standardized approach to words. We have a great need for this. The reason being that if we don't take a standardized approach, or we don't seek to create a uniform vocabulary, then everyone who translates something will simply do so according to their own idea of how something should be translated. And this will create a situation of great inconsistency and difficulty for future students and teachers and readers. And so it is for this reason that we decided it was very important to create a dictionary of standardized words, of standardized modern vocabulary. And we can liken this to building a house. When we set out to build a house, the first thing we need to do is contemplate the materials, the bricks, and we need to craft the bricks one brick at a time. And then after we've done so, we can make a wall, and then after having erected the walls, put on the roof. When we start out, we don't first think of the house as an entirety. We've got to start off at the basic unit of the raw materials we need to build the house with.
Teni nga tso terang ga teni Georgette ta nga tso teni tsungju ko kolla teni yen song te na nga tso ti tso mambo zmen ta ka tar nge tsungju ko kolla teni deshit teni nyonyong z teni jab ko tsmala ngochun nyonyong she ke yin.
So the topic for tonight's talk was really introducing my work on this dictionary. We don't have a lot of time, but I'd like to briefly introduce this work to everyone.
Tani nga tso tsungchun tani ta leni ta talo ne nga tso longkhor pshik je song longkhor pshik rangla tani nga tso lerkan de leni tani mi mambo z ka lerkan leni tani lo la tani tsonda mambo tsona nga tso korma vjitini tsokoyo nyonyong ko kas lore la tani thang nire tini tsokoyo tani thang rere la nyema jwanga tani da sheka tsokore da sheka garangla tani te samanyam dan somni tini tsokore tani gunin tsoni tani talo parta tani ta lo chikchik tani zresong.
So we've been engaged in this work for 11 years now. Many people have been involved in this project. In terms of, we do it by convening meetings to work on the dictionary. In some years, we've had as many as 4 meetings per year. At other times, 2 meetings per year. And at every meeting, we convene for a period of 15 days.
Tani thomar nga so tani tsumjo zoya te gandhi gune tani samsung te jimsung gandhi gune tani sambare zena tani shetang nga so te lo chakha tani zga gongla te mi mambo tani ta porkar ya pojab ma shiwa chi ta nga so pe na changma ga tani chowa ga na la shia de na nga ma ga tani pe na yangli ga kor la na shigli ga kor la na mambo zata te mi mambo namjin tani sha de ya te nga ma ga ti sore ngama lo mambo ko teje teni inna nga chu teni ngama ga teni yoshi te so thamche ponen chowa ga nala kale chama me pa chaso be jana rongba zla na teni ngama nga chu teni ner nga ya teni yigpa ga teni ner dong ya teni yang choma ga nala ne teni long la sharia teni droa ga nala teni te unzat ya teni yang teni ne so teni ngo chi te chimchi ga nala tak zambashi teni zo zajiren do re teni ti nang de la teni mambo z tambo ne ngana zora ngar go re te dawaz ke teni yang teni ne dona igba ga dong re ten da boz ke ne sharna shara ga teni long la sharna teni shigre te chama me ba chakso chama trchar re so teni mambo z dere so de teni ne ngana mambo z ka mambo z lam trchar ndo yo re mambo z teni re so teni teni rin do ka se teni 디 타니 때서 사마양 배시 메바르서 사마 ngama 시야 때서 사마 다 구바 메바 텐디리서 데닌 초아가 나라 사와 mambo lep서 데니 디 사와 때서는 가서 망치게요 말에 데닌 트차 페나 가서 네 동야 건 트차 데라 가리스고 하고요 말에 야 데니 네 롱라 샤라가 롱커 데니 양 때라양 가리스고 고 말에 디 그런 거 찍고 망신한 적이 아마 디나라 mambo 따로 mambo 살락 mambo인도 te sola karize gona te mang te shige amare te mashiti teni chame pok japsam na yang teni japtham ko amare chigri 니리 되니 가서 하마자와니 메피티니 양 뭐보 멍보스 되니 가서 소화가 날라더니 살다더니 lep송 되 고데 대체 그 자세 담바글로니 다 고존에 되니 가서 소화가 날라 사랑 보사라 멍볼렙 캬버드더니 니통 순추니 되니 소화가 날라 무보사라 멍볼렙송 때 베르나드니 저 짐처 거 거르 자와 거르 되니 정통 카버 거 거르 근데 멍보즈 되니 소화가 날라 레버리 되니 소화가 날라는 무보는 되니 렙차리오리 이나 망니요 말에 되니 인디 되니 가서 되니 망 마고디 되니 자마가 때때라 가서 법이 랑가 잡아서 지녀요 말에 되니 메디 되니 다 가서 오니 가서 까때 가서 소화가 날라더니 배쇼 땅 쳐야디 뇽뇽뇽뇽 좀 막도 봐 매바착대 잠바 삼바 배쇼 땅지 매야 연담만다 까다 잠바 배쇼 마땅나 되니 다 매바착네 되니 다 가서 니 나라더니 소화가 날라이나 파르치 되니 지 샤와탄 웅부 차버도 웅부 있나 땅아 다리 코나 샤바데 가서 당럽 장거더니 겸상스근 소화가 날라삼로 땅나 망보스도 당럽 장거더니 졸리 le thombi dini ta ngobo tinji de yore te tisu samala ta mang ngama meti te sarwa go yore te sarwa de meti teni samaga te kadja machine teni ba leba bok ka te teni peshu nyonyo se ma to pa me pa teni chason ta lo teni changa ya mar teni ko kongla.
So, in terms of the reason why we felt it necessary to do this dictionary work was that about 10 years ago there was a prevalent situation in Tibetans where Tibetans really weren't speaking Tibetan very well. Or using Tibetan very well. Essentially, many of traditional practices had disappeared from Tibetan life with the arrival of modernity and its conveniences. So traditional ways of doing things in farming lifestyles and nomadic lifestyles had slowly ceased to be. And as this happened, the vocabulary and the words that went with these lifestyles and ways of doing things also stopped being used as well. They had no use in a situation where these kinds of practices and lifestyles were no longer being continued. So an example would be the milling of barley. The traditional milling of barley is traditionally involved a process of drying and threshing and hulling and grinding the grains using traditional tools, and there were implements and there were words for all of these things. However, when this process became mechanized, when there became machines available to do this work, then simply these words just simply went out of use. And people didn't know the names or the words for them. So even in this situation, even if people wanted to use Tibetan, they weren't able to do so in a situation where new things had arrived that they didn't have a name for. And so many of these new things were not just machines, new kinds of farming machines and other machines that are used in a nomadic context, but also in everyday life. Beginning in the 1980s, but certainly hastening by around the year 2000, computers, the internet, mobile phones, etc. These were all new things that were becoming very common in Tibetan areas, and yet there were no names for them. So household items, essentially things that were made in factories, because there were no names for them in Tibetan at this situation, people were not using Tibetan names because there weren't ones for them at the time, and therefore Tibetan language use had become quite endangered.
Teni te chigri teni pogu mambo pogu chongso porkat tsawani jammashiwa teni she yang pama chola yang kashi la torna me pata yang kashi torna yona yang teni ta jabgona yang sarwati sola jawe meti teni kandishe go hamako teni she ni teni nyen kape nyemka 잡침보스 되니 레바레다 상마 삼로도나 데리나 나소까티 머랑와 다 욕반 메 빠착서레 삼바티니 그때니다 네서딘디즈 강라티니 특거리.
So, in terms of young children too, there were many children who really couldn't speak Tibetan. In some cases, it was their parents not paying much attention or concerning themselves with it. In other cases, where parents were concerned, nevertheless, not knowing any better themselves, they weren't sure how to go about addressing this situation. So we really felt that we'd arrived at a point where Tibetan language was severely endangered and perhaps on the precipice of falling into extinction.
Teni te jire te chama ha ko re teni ni te teni ngarang ko teni ta yindaman dan yogbo teni ta chungju zo go ya samba teni samlo te shetan ti kabne teni zo jin zo sono zo ji teni re sona yak bore samde teni samde yo tani kapchik tani ngarang lhasa la sone lhasa ga tani te namju thangni par tani lhasa ga par tani shishul langkor tani zga na la somba yam ta didi kawina tarta dan ra mari tarta ina nga so lhasa ga namju thangni lhasa lan ro gona karma jibji thamba tani zga thon ro re di kapsina tani lamkhayang tani yakbo mari tani langkor yang yakbo mari chizu chita shika tani go re tani chizushida sheka goti den garan te langkor te nala dene so ngin chitela tani bobi posar ni du te khorani janagla lojong shine tani yarayong ken loma ni tani jendu te khorani ge tani kaja shaken du nge kaja te la tani nyen nge chizushida sheka la tani tambo gadin langkor nala dene parle masong ko warde tani nge khorani khabda te la nge nyen ni so yen o 렌치딜란드 더니 과니 그 갑다 몽보시안이 들으셔서 디 낭라 네 잡으시니 년니 쇼듬즈 잡은디 디 나라 파르치디 가자디 나라 가자디 게마 짐페나 디니 디노니 찌 라보즈 디니 다가 포르크 인사리 데마토 바잠바 상마 디니 가잠바 잠종드 오 몽보티 나라 시니 디니 디리시니 다 포르크 ngo마 디나라 파르치디니 가차 니시 짜니 짜nga 디니 요나메나 덴디즈마도 짜와니 mendu 단내 삼송들이 단데 그런 뭐니 말에 때가 솔롭다나라 용는 거 마창만 되지 제근도 단 덴디시나 되는 가서 다 덴디시네 되는 다른 데주잖아 때빼닌 같이 보레사리 삼네더니 가서 중조팀 교보더니 조공도 삼네더니 조야 같더니 그런데 된 곳을 그래 대소 탐지봉 알한 거때 좀지고 뒤좀디 갑상라 tani bodhika ik mirta nyamsu shi gubi korji tani samsarza tani yori tinala nga tsama zhizhag yo tani naga zu tsungzu zoya ga tani samlo te tani goni tani shongwa tani zire.
So this situation where the Tibetan language was in danger is something that probably everybody knows. And at this time, I really felt that quickly bringing working on a dictionary and bringing a new dictionary. Bringing it out, making it, bringing it into publication would be a very good thing. There was one time about 10 years ago when I visited Lhasa, and as I was in the bus heading from the airport to the city, that's a trip that these days takes about 40 minutes, but back then, because the road wasn't very good and transport was fairly average too, the trip took about 1.5 hours. So during this trip of 1.5 hours, I was sitting beside two young Tibetan boys who had been studying in China, and they had returned to Lhasa. And as I listened to their conversation for this period of 1.5 hours, I was struck by the fact that they were constantly mixing Chinese words with their Tibetan, such that really only 1/4 or 20% or perhaps 25% of the words they were using were Tibetan. And I thought to myself, this is probably not just a case of two people. This is probably a prevalent situation among many young people. And so I felt that this was a situation where our language and our language use was very much in danger, and that it was necessary to work fast to do something about this and to work fast on bringing the dictionary into publication. So this was my beginning motivation, and I've actually composed. I wrote an article on this. Which the article was about my thoughts on the need for preserving and reviving Tibetan language. So this is how it all began.
Tani di kapsa tani ngaso bobala tsumzu jamba merewa jenda te mare ngaso la tsumzu mampondu kyabarda tartanda yana tsumzu sama domjagna tani nishi sumshi jibji tani yosare chishi chongchong sama shir domjagna tani yore tata ti nangla ngaso namjin tani pesho tangdeya te mi mangchi shugo pesho tang te tsumzu ni pesho tangare ngaso pe tsama ga tani lagla yoya te tani zire ti nangla chikte ngaso tani ta 보디아 춤주 쳔보세 그래 대배 nga초 춤주 참아가는 약슈래 대대다 nga초 따르다 로지기 돌아 요비 춤주 속나니 춤주 약슈대래 보디아 춤주 쳔보래 대 릉켄데서야 nga초 보고 nga마슈 쪽 냥바 감네 용큰 쾌바데서 되니 저거래 된지 인디 되니 약슈대래 대 보디아 춤주 쳔보래 디나라 단위 추수 저거래 단위 추수 적다 되니 학선도 대배 약보래 무슨 소바래 다 있나요 되니 다가 Korang layang teni kyun chik yuwa de kangrezina te tanya te sama surjing ka tanya takda mato yuwa mare surjing ka tanya takda kare te mato ba jamba manduk teni jamba kashi yuwa de rini sarjinra teni ka kapsa teni shongwi tsuk sarwa teni kashi yuwa re mato ba jamba tishi shongwa chik janga mare te korang ka kyun re shetang te pe yakbo shik re.
So this is not to say at the time that there were no other Tibetan dictionaries or bilingual Tibetan dictionaries. Looking at the situation now, there's probably upwards of 20, 30, 40 Tibetan dictionaries. Of these at the time, there were two that were the dictionaries that were mainly used. The first being the Tibetan Chinese Great Dictionary. Historically speaking, this is the best Tibetan or Tibetan Chinese dictionary, and it was compiled by excellent scholars from the old society, and it has about 10,000 word entries. So generally speaking, this is a really very good dictionary. Its one shortcoming is, however, that the words contained in it are traditional. They're all traditional words. There are no new words or modern words except for perhaps a few that were new terminology that was added during the Cultural Revolution era. So this is a shortcoming of this dictionary.
Tani nipaade there's jachi ote kangrezina tani yang jabu tsungju chimboze tani jiyore jabu tsungju chimboze tere tani tin nangla tarni teze mambore tarni chuso jida laziyore tarni chuso jida lazundu ta yinna yang de yang garang tani ditso ka wang de shina tani ta lorob denchi bag nala ta terim nyeshi bag tani lorob denchi bag nala mi mamboz ko lene tani denchi bag jik tani gachi bag gola tani patron shiwa tani zuri di nangla yang tani yang rini sarji da tichu korko tsing mambo halipa mambo yori ta rini sarji gzina ti kab ko tsing takdak zi mara shertang ti yanchu ko tani tsingde lorob denchi yanchu ko tsingde mambo ti nangla yori yena tani gachi sanju ko tsingde yang tezi nyongyong ri nyongyong ri ti nangla gachi sanju ko tsingde jini yar kanun gyamne yori ta yena ti tola tani yang mambo zi mandu te yena tani di nangla te shirtang tsing mambo yore te yinang te korang la te kyun mambo haliba kyun mambo re kyun mambo te so di nangla yongkang te tarnya mambo zata te nga so tsik da mang da te rabu shi ya mare pena jayi ka thone te sar jirna halam korang rishit rabu jamne o korang ka te rirwan rabu shi ne ta pena jayi ka te mang tsik te riziyo na te te poyi ka thola jir sawi kapsa tani rishit rabu mato ba te korang mang tsik ngo mazi ya mare te yongkang te yore te yina mambo zi te rizi kyun chik te te re tani kyun ni te kang yore zina tani lor jashi pa sinchuni ti sinchuni shung kang tani yang ubo mambo ti nala ya mare ti jashi pa sinchuni shung kang yang ubo mang tsawane me pa da mare yore te yina te mambo zi manduk te indi tani ti nala yang tani pe na 자위 거다오다 테니치 카버 정통 거거다 짐출 거거다 다 시소고 돌란 게로 만본로고 요래 테니 양 시소고 돌란 게로 만본로디 양 샤와 양 사로 만보용 거래 Di shawati so manda so yang di nang la yo mari. Dendi indi yang korang la dai di nang dong ke chane yang dini yang ji shitang tsing mangbo ji yori da yang chama sang wan da wo dang yang sir girya ga thola yang na to mangbo zo to dendi zre.
The other major dictionary in use at the time was the Great Chinese Tibetan Dictionary, and this was a large dictionary in terms of its the number of its word entries. It had around 100,000 words. It was compiled during the 1970s and finished towards the beginning of the 80s and published at this time. So this dictionary contained a lot of words from, well, not just the Cultural Revolution era, but from the 1970s in general. The words that originated during the early 80s, there are a few, but also there aren't many from this period of either. So the word entries in this dictionary were dated. So despite the fact that it was a large and major dictionary, it had many shortcomings. One shortcoming was the fact that many of the words were explained almost rather than finding a new term for a word that was translated. So a Chinese word, when translated in Tibetan, it was more like it was explained or defined rather than a single word chosen to represent the word properly. So that was one shortcoming. And then the other shortcoming, as mentioned, was the fact that when this dictionary was composed, there were many, or when this dictionary was compiled, it was a time when there just weren't so many new material things in society. By no means was there the internet or modern telephone communications, the computer, etc. In the period since this dictionary was compiled, society had undergone a great deal of change, and so we needed new words to represent this change. But the content of this dictionary was lacking, yes, despite the fact that this dictionary had a very large number of word entries, its shortcomings were also fairly significant as well.
Teni tsumzu tela, teni tsumdruk shi bikapsa teni yang korang la teni kyun halipa chimbos chik yori. Te kang rezi na pena danga so mi mamboz ka kono koso gosha jabne teni tanya te so ruruk shi ne teni leo yori. Te pena ngaranga teni tanya tong so chik teni yang mo jambaza ka tong so chik teni nga so mi mamboz ka teni mire ka teni tong so chiri rapo shi ne teni tanya mamboz yigir shi. Teni te shi tari jini te so tamsi nyamda teni par teni tsumzu druk joga matok ba te nyamda teni keryon nga so mi mambo dholang shi dan ten druk munduk zaya teni dholang to shi ya mare. Te ma shi pi jimsen ki teni ti thola teni yang ching garwan rata yang chi te par yang kyar dun rata teni pa mambo ritam. Teni indi teni te tsumzu ngoma teni tsardan zikana lan rogona teni ro thogu mare ta. Teni zingin tsardi teni nga so 대지 잘든다고 된지 그때니 순조도 조고근데 그제니 내가 저때 순조도 조기된 건적 바래 건적이야 되더니 니 동아가로라 되니 니 동아가로 되니 시카다가 바나라더니 건적하래 일단 띠공라더니 로스지그 니 공라 내가 저때 순조조야 답시가 돌아 상로당에 잡직만 보시니 되니 우슬레간 건적이야 되니 동아가로 되니 건적 바래.
In addition to these problems, there was also the editing process of this dictionary was also problematic. That is, the way that they did the translation of the words was to divide the words among different editors or different translators and give everyone, say, 100 word entries to translate. So they did this independently. People were not coming together and discussing how to go about translating the words, and because of this, there was it ended up that there was quite a bit of inconsistency between the ways and the principles that upon which words were translated, and contradictions or inconsistencies. So for this reason, this dictionary couldn't be considered a standard dictionary. And so we felt that there was a need for a dictionary of standardized words, of uniform standardized words. So our work on our dictionary commenced in 2005, in the spring of May. in 2005. We had done quite a bit of research and preparatory work before this, but our actual work in terms of beginning to translate the terms began in 2005.
Teni nga tsu tsimzo tate leyang go tsikne teni ta lore la teni tsondo mambon tsone teni leka lega yo. Teni yindi nga tsu bog nane teni nga la jinkhen te la teni lhasa ta teni tsorngon ta nga tsu kam ga teni mdogi kam sim ga teni ta tsangma teni shogri me pa teni zi teni pebyori teni nga la teni te nga tsu zhanga yang par shirin dabon dabo shi ne lhasa ga teni matang ta amdo matang ta teni kam shok matang rabo shi ne teni nga la teni yungu yore teni nga la teni mambozi teni ngama ga teni ta rinne pe yakbo yung driba tesore teni yang mambozi tata sarka teni yang nga tsu lopta chi mo girgun rada teni girgun che mo rada yang na chi teni nga tsu lekung na la chi yigir da so tola leka lenken ga yang teni nga tsu bog na la kat nika yakbo shinken teni ga teni korwa teni yang inji ga teni shola yang teni shinken yang teni kashi yore te mai na me jamba tsama ka niri te yakbo shinken ga mo damga shi ne teni lore가 나라다가 총돈 속여야 되니 총돈 속비 값을 셔당 가서 되니 수수수소 되니 겨겨야 돼 수소고 되니 이게만 뭐 겨 되니 겨 서비지니 되니 가서 냠던 총이 다와 셰카즈 거랑라 되니 때 조랑만 보시거래 측지리 시리 돌아 조랑 시거래 되니 되니 측지보디 되니 가서 값값이 측지보고 돌아더니 다 이런 정보 조랑시네 되니 치치니 되니 건로야 되니 양도 되 무슨 다 버려 큰 돔나 아주 니마스 찍라더니 레가더니 추주 get 레그래 니마리리라 디나라더니 추주 셰카 가도 추주 셰카 슈도 셰카 시소라 가서 잡거래 데나 레칼레양 오마티 추주 든라고 드리슬라 가서 레칼레그래 데니 딘디 쓰용디디 가서 데니 추주 찍나라 데니 타니더가 찍든 딘디 마토바 단조도 그만데 추조식 나라데 참마가티 돌아데 가서 디 동거 돌아는 줄다면 주 양가서 가는 거 존나티 주데보 인다면 어디 잠바당 가르다 뭔가 되니 양가서 되니 보고 하마가 되니 익차가 나라 딘득다면도 다 딘디가 콜라 mambo 살로당 mambo 돌랑치 딘디시 온디 추조식이가 나라 되니 다니 어디니 주든 딘디 마토반 저도 마소 되니 다시 바르던 가서 되니 다 로 직직해서 옛날 다른 추조니 가서 약 무슨 좀요래 다른 추조니 때라 되니 망때 담배시 되니 때라 리시디 약보잡 되니 신이 되니 다른 추조니 다 가서 로 직직하랑 되니 좀송 되지 마돈 좀요 말에.
So every year we convened several meetings to work on the dictionary, and among our team of translators, we had people from all over Tibet. So people from Lhasa, from Qinghai, from Kham. Approximately, there was an equal amount of people from each area of Tibet, and among our team are some older scholars with a very high level of traditional education and cultural attainment. We also have younger university professors, for example, or workers in the government translation department who have a very high level of Tibetan language knowledge. Everyone has proficiency in two languages, and some people also, there's a couple of people who know English as well. And so the way that we organize the work is that between our meetings, everyone works on terms and translates them. And then when we get together for the meetings, we go through every single word and we discuss the best way to translate it. And sometimes it can be that we spend 1 or 2 hours just discussing one single word. Every day during the meeting, we meet for about 7 hours. and in the course of one day, or in every hour, we cover about 5 or 6 or 7 words, no more than this. We talk about things like is the meaning, has this meaning, the meaning of a word in its translated form being properly communicated? How does it sound like? Do we have resources in our traditional vocabulary so to represent a new word? For questions like this, we give much thought and discussion to. So from the time that we began the work until now, 11 years have passed. Over this time, we have translated 20,000 terms. So this 20,000 means that we have decided on a word, a name, a term for a particular new word, and we have also defined it and provided an explanation for the meaning of the word.
Tani tarti parta nga tsu zoya tela tsunzo nga tsu riksum shini tani zuyo tarti parta tsunzo site nga tsu shirdang tsunzo da pore tani tangla tsawa te tsikti tsawi tsikti yore ti tola yige nrepshit gyabne tani ga chigiyo tela tebini te targa ton sarsong te tani te mayimba te tani rimu yo sa tani te rinjir ka thani tsunzo zi tani chigiyo te nga so targa tebni tini ta yo tambo ta ni bo ni yo te tola rmo tini kor yori saman rabar yori teni samba ta nga so tini tarnya nyamba kor te la ya nga so sungzo chizo yo ta te nga so bokum do kamsumne sacha mambo ni tini rabar mambo jab chaka mambo len tini pena bok sacha te tharambo borjong ko teni ta tani metok jong da wata tani kongbo sacha da ndi ta ngari ta da so kor ta da so ni mambo te yarong da so mambo ni rabar jam ni tanyet aso mangsok ko na la med jo yong kan tani tanyet trojing ka tanyet so te shochi de dini tani te chigle yo ti na la parchi tanyet tong to sim da tani yo sa yo tani te ta ga so le sar song tani par patron kan la tan ni jang parchi dawa talo lo dilda dembat yapati zona thongre teni teni tarni nyangba ko te nyangba te myup teni ton da yen ma to te nga so pendam jogba ina ja da o ina te mem jogba mom bota ta drap ko ya mare teni ja thola teni da tarni mambo yore teni te nyam jo yore ta khashi gina te nyam jo na te yo mare je teni zen ken yore te teni mare nga so jni je ti tarni te penda ja thola yonken ga tini tarnyet soriji la tini tarnyet samlo tangna ti rije ga ti jablo la tini yang jingde ta tini yang nga so nga ma ga man nam ji tini mang to sarta tini korang so samlo tang sarta tini mambo zi tin la tini lojong shi andu te changma me ba chak sona te pe phangbo rindu tini inde nga so tini chungju zu zo yo te zo char song te je tini talo lo tin tang la nga so te maimbi jamba ga chungju ni yo chite 양데니 린제 같은 조제 데니 타르녜 그때 돌아데니 바리용 근데 지그레 데니 바리 멘켄 지기요 데니 촌 dom나 아주 다른가 달로 춘주 살왔음 통야요 데당 가마데니 춘주 지요 데참 탐시 dom장나 아주 데니 춘주 든 뎁든 요 지지종종 뎁든라고 데니 조요 옛날 촌장 시데니 데 장가데 다니데 mam보즈 말에 당아서 가시데니 조진제 같이 당르브리 되네 같이 라버요사 같이 라버메사 딘지 그때 mam보레 소레 마토 바 시장가 다니니나 다니데니 다 추조니 탁 딘지 마토 바 다른 루탑 коман데 딘지 가서 론도 소나라 딘이 레차르소
So we have 3 different kinds of dictionary that we have worked on up until now. The first kind of dictionary is a regular dictionary, one that has word entries with definitions beside them, and we have published 2 volumes of this kind of dictionary of new vocabulary. The second kind of dictionary that we have published is an illustrated dictionary. We've published 2 volumes of this, so there are new terms and with pictures accompanying the new terms. And then we have also worked on a third kind of dictionary, and this is a dictionary of old or traditional words in everyday Tibetan life. So in order to compile this dictionary, we gathered together a lot of photos of traditional objects and things from farming and herding life in all over Kham, Amdo and Utsang. Some photos came from as far afield as Gungjo, Ngari and Medok. And so this dictionary contains about 3,000 words. We have completed this work. This dictionary will be published probably in July or August this year. And so, for example, an example of the kinds of words that this dictionary contains is there's a lot of, for example, words relevant to nomads, yak hair tents. There is a great deal of very detailed vocabulary related to these tents and the parts that comprise them. And because an increasing number of nomads are no longer living in tents, these words are slowly going out of usage. Some people think this isn't a big deal, no problem if we stop using these words, but actually if we think about it, there is so much culture and history behind each of these words, how it came into usage, what the cultural input was in every word, and there's really much for us to learn and to know through maintaining and preserving these words, and it would be a great shame if they were lost. So we have these three kinds of dictionary, the three kinds that I mentioned, in addition to two new volumes of the illustrated form that are coming out. We've produced 6 individual books. However, in terms of the number of actual terms that we've translated over this 11-year period, we've translated 20,000.
Teni ngacho tip teso tanga ina teni ta rimba margu bi gone teni rimba malim bi gone teni mar teni lobja da teni yigir da teni chi jangja le khong da nyamchen le khong da teso chama la par teni chaya za tip nish tip chuso nish tsar nga tsa teni ngacho rimba margu a chini chama la teni par chayo re teni mamcho teso yang teni ngacho yang teni kong teso debon rao shini teni mangso kona la teni tramgo yore teni indi ti mangso kona la ngacho teni ta tepte halepa teni pokona la ina teni chabja chimbo re ta ina ngacho tathola mar lenya yore tathola lenya tina la ta yona ti changa ti la ta yona teni pecha tsama na lenya te ngacho teni chungzo te lenya te mang chishu ren de tathoko mar lenya te la teni nang la ina teni ta mambo halepa mambo te parne teni demper shege yore mangso tsama ga teni ta 망치슈 그때니 김라들이 가서 배랑 가랑 롱바다 소 나란도 니타데디 파치 김상레가 나라데 레리리 자정도 되니 김상레가 나라 자여바 마츠티니 마르타니 되니 낙포시니 되니 자정도 다 참아가 약 보따근도 되니 미망보고 로라랭게 되니 양 미망보고 양 텔라 로라렌니 지글렌니 되니 지약 본 촌큰 솔라 잔딱 되니 약 보더니 딱지다 padrjinjenda tendiga shego mambo pekendo tendi indi tata ina teni manso konola teni chabja chimbo rete ngaso yang teni haleba manso ko teni japchur shewala ngaso haleba gade yo ngaso semshikda bolemne ota mentni zona panto yosare yakbo yosare samne tendi samde yo samaga japchur pe yakbo shiso samaga nala shikin yakbo ro tevso lokashi nala.
So we have provided about 250,000 of these dictionaries free of charge to schools around Tibetan areas, as well as to the government translation departments, broadcasting departments, and television stations as well. And in addition to this number that we've distributed free of charge, we've sold the rest at a relatively cheap price in the Tibetan community. And so the dictionary dictionaries have really been disseminated very widely. In addition to the actual hard copies of the dictionaries, they're all available for free download online. And actually, if we look at the numbers of people who are accessing the dictionaries in this way, this is the way that people, the most number of people are accessing the dictionaries in this downloadable way. The dictionaries have been widely taken up in the ordinary Tibetan community, among farming communities, herding communities. In most houses, there is a copy of the dictionary. In some cases, it's been so widely read that the pages have turned black. In some communities, it's very common for people to memorize the words, and there's an increasing number of new terminology memorizing competitions that are being held, and the winners of these receive prizes. So it's become very popular in the Tibetan community, and we're extremely happy and glad and energized by the support that this work has been given by the community, and it's made us feel that continuing this work has some benefit.
Tani zumzuzoya ga tani rosong teso tamchepo nga sumo kashiz ga tani dune tani zoyo re tema to ba jamba shilong ne yong ta ota yana chi tani zhong ga tani chapan da ota tani chi yang yo mar nga so gir ka tani tamchepo tani park yo re tani jamba chu nga so tin la jingkhin teso de girgen teso samba tamchepo ina so so laksam namda ga goni yong yo re ma to ba ko so la lacha chi jang tra go yo ma re 참마가 학습 남다 거니 용어래 근데 인디 가서 따티나라 용큰 그미 망보즈라 페나 로 즉직거랑라 다커서 페나 레콩고 나라티 자컵고 레콩고 나라 레카 링켄스이나 다니 로치거 나라타 로서크칼라 갑텔라 코송 가르소테 잡죠래 다니 다와 지발라 다니 여 자컵고 티신츠요래 디카스 니마 든다오 다니즈 가르소 잡죠 Tendis matokba mambu jabjimandu. Teni ti ngarso jabya lekati tsama ngatsu tsumzu lega nala jane lega le tendi tata le yore. Tendi girgan mambu zika khonso lo chachika rangla teni ti ngarso tso tsawa ne jabji ragayo mare tsama leka tata le ne tendi yong yore. Tsama laksam namtak goni leka lenken tata re. Tendi re. Teni ngatsu tendi goni leka le ne tabarda lesong. Teni maung bala ngaranga samlo tana tarang ngatso lo kashi la teni muntani lega yo. Ngatsu samna tini ngatsu tini bol la ina tarta poina ngatsu tanya chutsu simrawo tini ya bozu yo sona di shirtanglan dangro ta ngatsu pena gyala ina tarta tini dangrab gyarkit tini tsumzut ya tini ziyore di nangla tanya chutsu chig mato mandu tanya chutsu chigri ta tini tarta gyago tini chi 차 진전상 고마 잡고대 되지 디나 찍문도 찍마도 문도 일나 디나라 디니 양아서 보거이나 거나서 배나 야거니 지보 마도 방아서 남진 배셔 마땅한다고 디니 양 측 할레바 만보여리 디니 양 측가시트 디니 돈씩 바임바 측 만보 디니 욕자 만보용 근들이 양도 다 디수 팔 디니 표정나 디나라 양 디니 할레바가 만보문도 디수 팔 렌조티나 디니 파치 투소저 디니 나다 디니 연사레 Tindi ina ti ngatsu bol razila samlo tambay na tarta ngatsu tini chili go tini jambati parpat te mai ba shirtang ngatsu go tini lobcha ina ri ten rawo zo na ngatsu ti mangso ko na la ina ta chi chongle ran so shirtang ga thola pe sho tangala tini tanyo chu sum rawo tini ma to ba go mando tini te ina ta ngatsu taro maung bala te le ni tanyo chu sum rawo tini ga thola tini yar phaya ga tini rewa tini shi de yo 다시당 가서 대랑네 되네 가서 단위 증조 ngochoshe te titsuko wang te mato yong ko mende sherdang de ngaso lelika ta so tola ngaso mambo nyamnyong da so mambo shajiyo rita yana ta te me mambo zut ngaso chilli kornda pore yang mi mambo zut la yang moba yona mena ko mare titsu yang mende te yana ta ndur di ten disu shaka yen.
So in terms of the funding for our dictionary work, this comes from a few private sources that is put together to enable the work to be done. So it doesn't have any official or government support whatsoever. And in terms of the teachers and the volunteers who have been doing the dictionary work, they all do this work through pure goodwill and altruistic intention. They don't receive any salary or compensation for their work, and many of them have been doing it for 11 years now. So those who have government jobs, they use their holiday time, their vacation time, such as during the New Year holiday or the national holiday in October. At these different times, there is 2 weeks or 1 week's holiday, and they devote this time to attending the dictionary meetings. So these volunteers have really known no vacation or leisure time for the past 11 years. All of their holiday time has been given to the dictionary work. So in terms of our intentions for the future, we think that it makes sense to keep doing it for several years until we have compiled probably 30,000 new terms. We feel that that would probably be sufficient. If we look at the modern Chinese dictionary, it has about 60,000 words in it. However, not all of those words are relevant for Tibetan usage. There are many words of which have a very similar meaning, or other words that are too specialized. Or anyway, if we essentially sift out the words that we don't need and confine ourselves to words that are relevant to everyday usage in Tibetan life, then probably we need about 30,000. So we hope to continue working until we can achieve this goal. In terms of actually our methods of translation and the experiences that we have had during our period of work on the dictionary, there's a lot I could say, and thank you very much for listening.